Hi, I'm driving today, so I won't be looking at the camera a lot. But today, as I have this time, I want to talk about the inner child. And I want to talk about your symptoms as they relate to the inner child. So, a lot of you have excruciating symptoms. You have chronic pain, muscle tightness, tension. You might have fibromyalgia, multiple chemical sensitivity. You may have vibrating, buzzing, burning. I mean, I've heard it all. So, and I've had it all. So, these symptoms, we always look for a physical root cause. What did I eat? What did I think? What's the environment? What is the problem? What just happened? What makes it worse? What makes it better? And while that is good, this is our conscious, logical mind looking for an answer, right? And our conscious, logical mind is a good thing to use. So I'm not saying don't do that and don't be logical and don't consciously try to figure out what's going on. However, the big picture is that your subconscious is always at work, right? Your subconscious mind and your patterns, your autonomic nervous system, and all this is connected to the inner child within. The inner child is the part of you that wants to say, I don't want to have responsibility. I don't want to do that. The inner child is the one that says no. The inner child is the one that says, do it for me, or that's not fair, or just cries and throws a temper tantrum, or gets mad if they feel angry, or this inner child isn't afraid to feel its feelings and kick and scream and be irrational and cry, and it wants what it wants. It doesn't want to put on a brave face. The inner child doesn't want to stop having the tantrum. It doesn't want to put on the mask of social acceptance and pretend everything's okay and man up and take on their responsibility and get through their day. The inner child doesn't want to do this. The inner child wants to sob and say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not fair. Somebody take care of me. Somebody hear me. Somebody look at me. Somebody love me. Right? That's what the inner child wants, and it's not afraid to say it. But as we get older, we suppress this inner child because it's not cool for adults to be going around doing this all day. And when you have a problem, positivity is looked on as this virtue. So like when something's going wrong, or you're having symptoms, or you're having a bad day, and there's all this stress and pain and symptoms and illness in your life, one of the greatest virtues that a person can have according to society is a positive attitude, and just to get on with it. They always say, oh, that person, had cancer, or that person had this, but didn't they have a great positive attitude? And it's seen as this amazing virtue. That's not always the case. That may be why that person had that issue or that disease or that problem, because they are acting positive. They are putting on a brave face, an acceptable face, right? They are doing what needs to be done and just getting through the responsibility. And what they're not doing is acknowledging that inner child inside them. The inner child is you. You are the inner child. And everything else is just what we're taught, how to act, how to do the right thing, and all these things. The inner child is that person who says, it's about me. My feelings matter. I matter. I need help. I need love. I need comfort. I need support. It's this deep need for love and belonging and acceptance and care and everything that we have. Oh, sorry, a deer just crossed the road in front of me, so that just startled me. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful big deer. Anyway, so now I'm on the lookout even more to make sure there's no other animals crossing. So your symptoms are in direct correlation. They're a direct result of ignoring this inner child who needs to be felt and seen and loved and comforted, and who doesn't have to do the right thing, and who can cry, and who can feel sorry for themselves, and who can need people to love them and take care of them, and who can do what's good for them, right? So your symptoms, you've suppressed a lot, because as adults, we suppress that inner child every day. We suppress thoughts, we suppress feelings, we suppress emotions, we suppress physical sensations, we suppress our physical pains, we suppress anything negative, right? We suppress all these things in our world because A, we don't want to necessarily feel them, and B, it's not acceptable to go around feeling them. And C, we just don't want to bring that negativity to the world. So we suppress a lot of what's truly going on inside us, all these feelings and thoughts and emotions, but they're still there. They are still there. And they're felt in the body. So when you have a lot of symptoms and a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, you may say, no, it's not directly correlated to my feelings because I'm aware of my feelings and I love myself. But ask yourself, really, how hard are you trying? What kind of a mask are you putting on? Are you pushing down those tears? Are you pushing down that anger? Are you pushing down the need to be loved and accepted and held and taken care of? Right? What are you pushing down? Because it's just not acceptable to have it rise up. It's expressing itself. All these thoughts and feelings and emotions that you're pushing down are expressing themselves through your body. Your body is saying, I can't hold any more in my bucket. I can't hold any more of these thoughts and feelings. I can't suppress anymore. And so they need to be felt, and they're going to be felt right here in your body so that you can't ignore them, so that you have to feel them, you have to face them, and here they are. And when you try even harder to suppress those symptoms, they scream louder, don't they? Because you're not listening. You're not listening to it, and you're not letting this inner child have its way. Now, everybody knows we can't always let inner childs throw tantrums. There is a time and a place. But when you're never letting your inner child talk, when you're never letting your inner child feel free or safe enough to cry, be angry, feel, need help, need comfort, need love, just take a break, take the load off your shoulders. When you're never allowing this inner child to feel what it feels, it will express in other ways. And when you hate your symptoms, when you're in battle with your symptoms, when you just want them to go away, when you want them to end, when you hate and despise and suppress them and judge them and criticize them, you are literally judging, criticizing, hating your own inner child, which is a part of yourself. And that's where the disconnect in healing comes about. The symptoms are the inner child. The illness is the inner child. The pain is the inner child. The exhaustion is the inner child. The fear is the inner child. Let the inner child talk. Let it be acknowledged. So this is where I say meditation is amazing. Talk therapy is great. Tapping is amazing. Writing in your journal is absolutely phenomenal. But you need to, however you do this, you need to make time every day to let this inner child be free to say what it wants, to feel what it wants, and then to not judge it and criticize it and put it down for having just done so. But just like you would your own child, you would hug it and love it and tell it you love it, you fully accept it and unconditionally love it no matter what. You're going to be there for it. You're going to be there for this inner child no matter what. If you're having a bad day, you need to be there even more for that inner child because it needs you. This inner child needs to talk, and even if it doesn't have anything to say or you've finished saying it all and you think, it needs your love. So when you say to your inner child, you just spent 10 minutes or 15 minutes or a half an hour journaling or doing this meditation and you still don't feel any better, what is wrong with you? I hate you. I can't wait for this pain to go away. Right? You are berating and judging and criticizing and telling that inner child it is wrong and it shouldn't be feeling and it shouldn't be doing this. and you're not being there. You're not creating a relationship with the inner child, right? One where sometimes, yes, the tantrum's not acceptable right now. Go find a quieter spot to, talk about your feelings or to think about your feelings, and then let's talk. Let's go work through this when you're calmed down a bit. Sometimes we need to do that, even with our own inner child. But we also mostly need to listen and love this inner child. Help it, guide it through. Say, okay, you're too upset right now, then cry, then scream, then do what you need to do. And when you're a little bit more calm, I'm going to be waiting to let you talk. And I'm going to hear you, and I'm going to love you, and we're going to work through this together. Just as you would your own child, right? Just as you would your child. So the symptoms are the inner child. How you treat your symptoms is how you are treating your inner child. How you feel about your symptoms is how you feel about your inner child and how you're treating your inner child. You must start treating your symptoms, as odd as this sounds, with love and acceptance and kindness and patience and guidance and the ability to sit and listen. This unconditional parent who loves it, who loves these symptoms. Because when you acknowledge them and you hear them and you love them and you say, it's okay, I hear you, I know you don't want this, but you're going to be okay anyway, and I'm going to be here with you to work through this to the end. That's what your symptoms need, and that's what your inner child needs. And remember, they are one and the same. They are a different method of suppressing. They're a different manifestation of each other. So we really, really, really need to listen to our symptoms, listen to our inner child. They're not separate. They are one and the same. And your body is the reflection of what's happening. So if your body is in symptoms, it's because you're feeling overwhelming fear or grief or anger or a deep emotion that isn't able or allowed to rise. Oh, a dog. What's with all these animals today? Okay, so it's been a long enough video, and I'm going to go pay attention to the road now. But I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope you take it to heart, because it's so important that we don't turn away from our inner child, that we don't turn away from our symptoms, and that we don't turn away from these important feelings and emotions that need to be felt before we can change them, before we can start to choose the future that we want and how to create our future and turn it from a negative into a positive. And before we can replace it with something better, it must be felt to its full extent, and you must love it. You must love your inner child and yourself. Just like your own child, you may help it choose better and do better and be better and create a better future for it, but you love it just as it is, just right now. And that's the message that you need to give yourself. So I hope it's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.